Hi guys, I hope you're all well. Please say hello in the comments so I can welcome you, and I hope all's going well. Another week, half term next week, so it can't be all bad, can it? Although, to be fair, you've got GCSEs, I haven't, but hey, still, a week off will be quite nice, won't it? So please say hello in the comments and we can get cracking. Now, we've got a lot to do today, so I want to crack straight on and ask you this question while you're saying hello. Which of the following statements is true about open source software? Hi, Aditya. How is it going? Thanks for coming along. Yeah, we're going to look at the 8-mark question today. It's a horrible one. Let's have a look. Here we've got. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Thanks for coming along. Well done. Aditya reckons it is A. The software can be copied, modified, or shared. Flynn, how you doing? Hi, Flynn. Which statement is true about open source software? This is looking good. Hi, Bogdan. How are you? Thanks for coming. We've got an A from Bogdan. Emad, we've got an A as well. Yeah, you guys have already nailed this one. So let's just crack on, shall we? So indeed, you are completely correct. That is A. Hash Brown, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Yep, A. That is that one. It's Matthew. Hi, how are you? How's it going, Matthew? Thanks for coming along. I can see it's you. Right. Hi, Sergen. How are you? Just getting this in before the football tonight. Hoping for a Man United loss personally, which I know is quite mean of me, but you know, that's the way it goes. So what have we got here? Which legislation governs the act of hacking? Is it data protection, computer misuse, or the the Copyright Design and Patents Act? Bogdan straight in there with a B, act of hacking. Is Bogdan correct? What do we think? We've got Flynn coming in with a B. We've got Aditya with a B. Yeah, Sergen with a B. You are nailing it. Crumbs, we've got Emad with a B. I can't keep up with you guys. Okay, we've got Ash Brown with a B. You are fast. Okay, yes, you're right. It is B. Of course it is. That is the... so you guys have got a good grip on what these things do and what these acts actually cover, which is great. Next, what about this one? Which of the following is false? Which I find quite hard to get my head around about proprietary software. I did do this one last week. The software can be copied. Which of these is not true? The software can be copied, modified, or shared. A fee is usually required. The software cannot be copied. Oh, Bogdan's come in straight away. This is fast. Bogdan's come in with A. We have got anyone else? Any other takers on this one? Flynn's come in with an A. Yeah, hi Swiftblade, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Aditya's come in with an A. Yeah. Sergen with an A. Yes. You have nailed it. Let me play some really exciting applause for you. Well done, guys. That is good. A. All right. What about... you're all right, by the way. And Emad with an A as well. Well done. Outstanding. What about this one? What is a cultural impact of digital technology? A cultural impact of digital technology. This is one that you definitely need to use in the exam. Always dig this one out. Oh, hello. Aditya's come in with an A straight away. That was super fast. Any other takers on this one? I'm assuming, Aditya, this was for this question, and this wasn't a hangover from the last one. And that's looking pretty good for me. Oh, I can see loads of A's coming through here. I can see we've got Swiftblade with an A. We've got Bogdan with an A. We've got Emad with an A. Well, this must be right because you guys are smart. So let's see if you're right, shall we? And I've got Hi, Jumbo Lizard. How are you? That is also an A. We've got Flynn with an A. I can't keep up with it. Okay. Boom. It indeed is an A. So that is really good. What's my next one? So A is woohoo, the right answer. Let's try. Have I got one or two more of these? And then I'm hoping to get in and actually get some of this paper sorted out. What is a benefit of using robots in the health service in the future? So this requires you to have a time machine to go forwards and to understand the answer. What is a benefit? Chris has come straight in with a C. Let's have a look. I think that looks pretty good to me with a C. So we've got Aditya with a C. We have got Sergen. Whoop, we've got Sergen with a C. We've got Bogdan with a C. We've got Jumbo Lizard with a C. We've got Swiftblade with a C. We've got Emad with a C. Yeah. So this has to be right because you're all saying the same thing. Surely it can't be wrong. Unless, as per last week, I actually put the wrong answer up. But no, it is a C, as usual. I'm in the way. And for once, I've turned the right way. There we go. So it's a C. Flynn, did I congratulate you? I did. Okay, so that is that one. Have I got one more? I can't remember. I might do. I do. Define ethics. Laws for how to behave. I think I put this one up because people, what's a nice way of saying, messed it up last time. So what do we think? What is ethics? Is it laws for how to behave in certain situations? Set of moral principles? Oh, Chris is in there with a B straight away. So is Aditya. And so is Swiftblade. And what else? I can see they're coming through now. Yeah, we've got Sergen who's come in with a B as well. Once it filters through, it takes a while. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and we've got Emad with a B as well. Okay, and we've got Jumbo Lizard with a B. And we've got Flynn with a B. Okay, you are nailing it. All right, and we've got Bogdan with a B. Where's Bogdan? He's there. Cool. Okay, so B, 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 B. And we've got Hash Brown with a B. Right, guys, absolutely nailed it. That's exactly what it is. Okay, brilliant. So this bit, I'm hoping, where are we? 36. I'm 2 minutes ahead of schedule. So I don't know whether you saw, I put a video up over the weekend. I put up 2 videos over the weekend, shows how sad my life is. And the second one is kind of based around this, okay? So we're looking at ethical. This is our 3rd week on this topic because it's that 8-mark question. So I want to really, really quickly whiz through just a little bit of information, I guess, on this topic, and then we'll have a go at doing one together. So key facts, why it's tough, the mark scheme, how you can prepare for it, a battle plan, and then we'll try and walk and talk through one, okay, which is a lot to achieve in no time at all. It's 8 marks out of 80. Look down there at the bottom of this screen. Can you see that's a screenshot from the marking guidance. Now the first line is paper 1, the second line is paper 2, where the marks are pretty similar, and you've got the grade boundaries there, okay? And don't forget, this is out of 80 raw marks, they call it. So can you see how between grade 7 and grade 8, it is, 6 marks? And yet this paper is worth 8 marks. So it's over a grade boundary. It's a high difficulty question because they rate them in terms of low, medium, and high. It's a high difficulty question. The highest, the more marks they give for it, the higher the difficulty usually. So let's look at why that is the case. Students panic. They don't plan. They don't structure. They don't leave enough time. They don't consider the context of the question. They don't answer both sides. They get ranty, rambly. They try to use it as their political platform to right the world's wrongs, and they don't structure their essay. So that's generally what goes wrong with these answers. The mark scheme, the top band, and Jeremy, I showed you the mark band. It needs to be thorough. So your answer's got to have a sort of a range of different answers, and you've got to relate it back to the context. If you don't, you will not be in that top mark band. You've got to also argue both sides, and you've got to talk about the scenario. Context and scenario are exactly the same thing. Well, I've got that in twice. I didn't notice that. Anyway, so that is what we are looking for in your answer. All right, so preparing. All the stuff that I gave you, plus the knowledge organizer, plus those sheets of paper where I broke down ideas across these sort of 4 or 5 subject areas, make sure you've got a bag of those to take in. The trick is you've then got to adapt them to the actual question. So whether they're asking about taxis or e-commerce or healthcare, you've got to try and sort of mold what you've got there into that answer, okay? And also stakeholders. Always think about the more stakeholders you can bring into the answer, the more chance you've got of opening up new territory that you can explore. Be brave, stick to timings. Don't do all of this preamble, all of this work, and then go in and do the mad panic thing. Because if you do the mad panic thing, you get the same result as last time, which is 3 or 4 out of 8. Okay, learn the checklist and get used to it. Now, the get over yourself bit here is that do not use this as a moral platform to voice your views on the dreadful state of the economy, or the fact that you can't stand Boris Johnson, or that you think that multinationals are the greatest evil of mankind, because nobody cares what you think. I hate to break this to you, but literally nobody cares. Just make sure you argue both sides. That's all you've got to do. No one cares about your opinion. Save your political career for later on. Just focus on getting more marks for this question and show that you can answer both sides, all right? Obviously, I care what you think. So this is our 9-point battle plan. Read the question highlight the key points in the question, refine it so you actually understand exactly what the question is down, a sort of abstraction and decomposition, if you like, which hopefully you do know what they mean. Divide the question up into the different ethical, legal, and so on, into different categories. Brainstorm your ideas, categorize your ideas into the question areas, link it back to the scenario, and then make sure you're showing different sides, okay? Where are we? 20 minutes to go. So this is what we're going to try to do now, all right? That's the grand battle plan. And my, and we'll do a walkthrough, talk through now. Now, my YouTube video, well, you know, it's funny you say that, because this is basically a geography or a history question that they've dropped into computer science quite randomly. Everything else we do is sort of 2 markers, 4 markers. We've got the what's this, what's that. It's all science. Then suddenly they've gone for this IT in the world, discuss, but they've made it a grade boundary in a bit. So it's kind of, it matters. Right, listen, without stating the absolute obvious here, clearly you need to read the question, right? But read it slowly and calmly, take a big deep breath, and then read it for a second time, all right? Don't just read it once and then start writing, because you will end up missing things. So this is the question that I devised, and I've devised for today, okay? So Cognautics Limited, do you see what I did there? Rather than saying OCR Limited and picking on someone called Alicia who knows nothing about computer science. Cognautics Limited designed self-driving electric cars. They have created a taxi, an e-taxi effectively, that can do the work of 5 taxis. So it's a taxi which is self-driving, okay? And it can do the work of 5 taxis at half the cost of manned petrol cars. Discuss the environmental, legal, cultural, and ethical implications of this development. Now, I've slightly cheated here because I brought in all of the different areas here, but this kind of ticks everything, all right? So this will give you a chance to get your teeth into it. So let's see how we can do that. But are you with this so far? That this is the question. When OCR do it, they'll put in much more waffle and flannel than this. So that's why in this next phase, it's really important that you literally get your highlighter out or your biro and you underline the parts that actually matter. And that's what you need to do. So rather than doing that together, I'll just whiz through what I did. The fact it's self-driving seemed quite important, because that means that it's going to be impacts for taxi drivers, aren't they? Because they're not going to have jobs anymore. The fact that it's electric, that strikes me as being quite good for the environment. What's next? We've got the notion that it can do the work of 5 taxis, which is pretty important at half the cost. So there's an efficiency, saving money. And I guess the last thing are the obvious things, those sort of areas, the environmental, legal, cultural, and ethical, okay? So I appreciate that I've made you highlight the entire thing here, but for the question that you get, there'll be a lot more waffle. So get your highlighter out, because it'll help you pinpoint exactly what you need to do. 43, we are doing well. So we have done the first 2 stages. We've read it and we've highlighted it. Now, you might not have time to do this in the exam, right? But it's sometimes useful to actually rewrite the question or rewrite it in your head in the simplest form, having taken away all that waffle. It might be enough just to have highlighted it. But here we go. This question is about the environmental, legal, cultural, and ethical considerations around the impact of a self-driving e-taxi that does 5 times the work of a manned petrol taxi at half the price. That's what we are focusing on, okay? That's the question. And we've got 8 marks. Oh, by the way, what I didn't say was you need to allow 10 minutes for this. If you're using less than 10 minutes, given that some of you seem to finish an hour and a half early during these exams, I know I exaggerate slightly, but you do have 10 minutes to use it. If you use 11, it's not a problem, okay? Because this is the one where you really want to nail 6, 7, 8 marks if you possibly can, because it's going to be really impactful on your final grade. So think about cutting your question into paragraphs that you're going to use from your answer. So you've got the question there, you've done your highlighters, and I recommend on the side of the page you actually write down your paragraph headings, because it helps to keep you organized and it also stops you waffling. Because the problem is you start writing, you run out of things really quickly, and then you start waffling and you start to use words like furthermore and hitherto, which is a signal that things are going badly wrong because you're just making things up. So these are my 6 categories. Now I reckon if you end up with 4 or 5 paragraph headings, you've done really well. One of them is going to be stakeholders. One of them is going to be environmental will probably be in there, and then it'll be a selection of the rest of them. But they will ask you what they want. But think about it this way. It's 8 marks. How are they chopping it up? How can you chop it down into 4 2-mark questions and then argue both sides, bring in the context? And then we're kind of rolling, aren't we? So that's where we are. Those are going to be my paragraph headings. And I've written those on the side of the exam paper. And by the way, don't cross them out afterwards. Leave it there. Because if you do run out of time or you forget to put it into the exam, then the marker's going to try to give you marks. They aren't there to try to take marks away. They want to award marks where they can. And if they see you've got some rough notes on the side of the paper, which look good, they might give you some marks for it. So don't cross anything out. And where it says show you're working, guess what? Show you're working. I only say that because I had the pleasure of marking your mocks. So let's try and do this together. Answers in the comments, okay? So brainstorming your ideas. So hopefully you've got inside your head what this question was about. It was about the e-taxis, right? So what about, let's set the timer for about 30 seconds or something like that, maybe a minute. And why don't you put down all of your ideas? Let me go to here. And if you put your ideas in the comment, I will write them down once I see them. So why don't you chuck down, if only I could work out where my clock was, I seem to have lost it. But why don't you write down your ideas in the comments, and I'll put them in my brainstorming. See, I can actually write along here as we're going. I've been very organised. So what have we got? I've so far got Aditya. These 8 markers literally remind me of geography. That's not going to be useful. Any ideas for what we can put in this essay? Let's go into brainstorming mode. In the meantime, I'll try to find my clock. Ooh, hello. So we have got cultural, reduces the effort of driving. Okay, let's do this. Cultural reduces effort of driving. So it's going to be easier. I think that's a good point. What else we got? We've got, loss of jobs, Swiftblade. Yes, loss of jobs. That's outstanding. We've got Bogdan. I like it, Bogdan. Computers being hacked. I've tried to, let's try and write your name properly. Bogdan has said about hacking and bringing a law into that. I like that. What have we got? Hacked, errors in software, fatal consequences. Bogdan, you're going a long way. Fatal consequences. I like it. Well, no, I don't like fatal consequences. That's a great idea. Sergen said e-taxis, so no carbon dioxide. SB says no CO2. No global warming. I'm just sort of breaking this down a bit. I can see my handwriting is going up the wall here. That's good. Environmental. Yeah, that's the environmental one. This is good, guys. Any more we can squeeze out. Ethical. Some people may not think it's safe. I like that. Some people may not think it is safe. Safe. So I recommend, right, when you're doing this, have those headings and maybe do 20 seconds, 30 seconds on each of those headings and see what you can squeeze out. You've got to be brave and actually give yourself enough time to answer this question. But this, I think, was a really, really, really good start. So I'll tell you what, it's 48. So let's push on and go back to here. I thought you did a really good job there. Let's push on from the brainstorming and have a look at what I came up with. As they used to say on Blue Peter, here's one I made earlier. So I'd put down, Bogdan's got Data Protection Act. Let's get Bogdan's up here. I like this. Oh, hang on. Aditya has said, legal, if all factors not considered, the company could be in big trouble. Yes, it could. It could be costly legally. Probably need to think about how we can expand on that a little bit, but I like where you're going there. Bogdan said, Data Protection Act 2018, when paying for the taxi, people may be concerned as to whether their personal information is being stored. Yes, absolutely. So you've really got a good range of things in here. So this is what I came up with. Loss of jobs, safety, a lot of the stuff that you did. So I came up with this idea. You know, a programmer has got to decide how to program the taxi in the case of an accident. Do you remember, if the taxi's got a choice of mowing down 10 school children or 10 old people, what's it going to do? I know that sounds a pretty gruesome way of putting it, but that will have to be programmed. Does the background of the programmer come into it? There's a cultural thing there. What about hacking to crash the taxi? Bogdan mentioned that. Loss of human touch, someone mentioned that as well. About taxi drivers, loss of human touch, the fact taxi drivers will have a chat with you, they will know the area. Digital divide, no one mentioned that. What about those who can't afford it? What about in rural areas where perhaps there won't be as many e-taxis, they won't have access to it? You might need to have an expensive new smartphone to have the app to order an e-taxi. You might need to have a PayPal account, that sort of thing. So drivers, they will do badly from this because they'll lose their job. Government, we talked about that, someone mentioned that. Customers, electric better for the environment, Sergen mentioned that. Manufacturing, energy, raw materials, no one mentioned that, but that's an idea. Finite resources, precious metals, supply chain, etc., etc. And also, who's responsible for accidents? I think Bogdan kind of got there with that, and I think Aditya did as well. I would sort of grow that a little bit and think, well, if there's an accident, whose fault is it? Is it the owner of the e-taxi, or is it the manufacturer of the e-taxi? So we've got lots and lots of stuff in there. So that'd be my first bit of brainstorming. Incidentally, I realized in this one, the BS stands for brainstorming, in case anyone cares. Both, yes, absolutely spot on. Okay, so check your brainstorming. Have you got everything in there? Have you got enough to write? If you have, carry on. If not, go back and do some more brainstorming. Have you got a couple of things for each of those paragraph headings that you've created? I know this sounds like a painful way to do it, but I think it will be a way of guaranteeing that you don't panic and miss out on loads of steps. All right, so that's the categorizing done and dusted. This is what I came up with. So I drew out my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas. I've got manufacturers and drivers and governments there about collecting taxes, as in taxing people, not taxiing people, if you're with me. So the government stand to make money from anything being sold, with something you can use. Cultural, human touch, safety fears, digital divide, ethical, loss of jobs, software, safety, we kind of covered that. Tracking, someone mentioned tracking. Who was it mentioned tracking? Someone did. I think it was Bogdan who mentioned, yeah, tracking in there. So you can have some good answers here. Responsibility for accidents, that was my one, and environmental, Sergen gave us some stuff on that. So that's how I would then, so you can look at this and go, yeah, and draw lines. You're going to write the whole thing out. Draw lines between your ideas and those headings that you've written, all right? 8 minutes to go. We will finish this on time. So now you need to link your answers to the context, to the scenario. So this is the way that I went about doing this, and this is sort of the 7th of the 10th thing that you need to do. And rather than giving you time to do it, because we'll run out of time if we try to do it, this is what I did. Now, you might think, yeah, very clever, sir. All you've done is write the word e-taxi in here repeatedly, which is true, but actually I've done a bit more than that. Who's responsible for accidents? Is it the e-taxi owner or the manufacturer of the e-taxi? But still, I'm drawing in the scenario. What about a loss of jobs? What about taxi drivers who have got 5 years left in their career and they lose their taxi because of electric taxis? How are they going to retrain at the end of their career? Hacking of e-taxis, Bogdan mentioned that. Lack of human touch, e-taxi drivers' knowledge of the local area and customs. I won't drop you here because it's a bit dangerous. This restaurant's really nice, that sort of thing. So you could work with those. The manufacturers of the new e-taxis will do well. Why did I write taxi drivers in there randomly? I don't know. Taxi firms, the impact on them, because they will change. What about governments collecting taxes and manufacturers of traditional taxes? So I think we've got enough there. We've linked it back to, because don't forget, in that top mark band, has the student linked it back to the scenario? If you get a couple of these in there, at least 2 of them, then the person marking it is going to go, yeah, they've done that. All you have to do initially is make sure that you've done enough of these, of this linking it back, of talking about the scenario, of making sure you've argued both sides to actually get yourself into that top mark band. Okay, so we've now thought about the sides. Thought about the context, the scenario. Now the next thing is, can we argue both sides of it? This is the most difficult thing to do, and I suggest that you leave this until last. until you've percolated and formulated some of your ideas, and then go back to this. So I think it was Sergen who mentioned about electric cars being good for the environment. However, if you read my longer read I gave you about the environment, it's only going to be better for the environment if the electricity that's used to charge the cars comes from renewables and doesn't come from fossil fuel. See what I did there? What about old taxis not being recycled because it's too expensive to recycle them, so they'll just get dumped somewhere? What about self-driving cars will be safer? I think somebody mentioned that. I think Aditya sort of got somewhere on that, I think. Self-driving cars safer and will result in fewer accidents. Self-driving cars can't drink and drive, they can't speed, they can't do stupid things like that. They can also make more journeys in less time. And thinking about the sharing economy, you know, like Uber, when people can share taxis, well, they can share e-taxis as well. And these things can work 24/7. So fewer of them will be needed. We talked about some... Oh, and this one as well, right, is that, you know, some taxi drivers are criminals. And not many, but you get taxi drivers who end up getting into trouble because either they attack their the occupants of their vehicle, or they tell criminals. So they pick you up, they take you to the airport, and then they tell someone that that house is empty. If you've watched Home Alone, there we go. That's an example. Was he a taxi driver? No, he was a fake policeman. Or was he a policeman? I don't know. But anyway, so there we go. Some nice ideas there. So now, have we argued both sides? Yes, we have. 4 minutes to go. When you write it out, use your paragraph headings. Make it really clear in your first sentence what it is you're going to write about. Get the word ethical, get the word legal, get the word on the other side, or the words on the other side or on the other hand, so that it's really clear that you're pointing out, this is the context, this is the contrary, I'm arguing both sides, this is the environmental bit, give me marks, please give me marks. Tick your plan off as you go. Check to make sure you've argued both sides, you've included the scenario, the context, you've got your headings there, and don't cross out your notes, leave them there in case you run out of time. All right, so this was my final effort, which you can read on the YouTube video because there's no point in going through it now. But that's what I came up with, and I reckon that's a pretty decent answer. And I've argued both sides of that. So have a look on the YouTube video that I've done to look at that final answer and pinch things from that you can reuse in your final exam. All right, we've got about 3 minutes left, so let's try and get through a few of these. What about this one? Which law states that information has been used fairly, lawfully and transparently? Is it A, computer misuse, B, data protection, or C, the Copyright, Design and Patents Act? Which one of these states that information has been used fairly and lawfully? Whoa, hang on, I think you're coming in with these fairly quickly. We have got Aditya with a B, we've got Swiftblade with a B, we've got Sergen with a B, and you are all absolutely spot on. That is outstanding. So let's go on at Sergen with a B as well. Right, next. I will keep doing these, try and get through these in 2 minutes. Right, let's have a look. What's the next one? We have got... Dun, dun, dun. What does the Data Protection Act give an individual the right to do? Request the data an organisation. I'll keep an eye. So Sergen is the last one there with a B. What do we think about this one? What is the correct answer for this one? What does the Data Protection Act give an individual the right to do? Oh, Emily May, hello. Oh, these have all gone down here now. I've got Emily May. Oh, I've got Emily May with a B. Hi, Emily May. Oh, you've got a scary new picture. I've got Emad with a B. I've got Sergen with a B. I've got Swiftblade with an A. I now don't know which question this is. I've got Sergen with a C. I've got Flynn with a C. Sorry, you're all saying different things. Should we see what the answer is? What does the Data Protection Act give an individual the right to do? The right to request the data. And organisation. A typing mistake. I am so sorry that an organisation holds for them for a fee. Emad got an A, Sergen got a C. The answer was C, but to be honest, my spelling mistakes mean that I should be taken outside and shot. So let's go on to the next one and quickly cover that up. What about this one? Intellectual property theft. The phrase intellectual property is one you should definitely use for this one. Any ideas what this one is all about? 1 minute to go. I reckon we can squeeze another question. Aditya's come in with a B on this one. Copyright Design and Patents Act. I can see we've got a few more Bs flooding in here, actually. Aditya said B, Flynn has said B, and who else have we got? We've got Swiftplay with a B. You are all absolutely outstanding. It's so is B. We've got Emad with a B. We've got Sergen with a B. That is good. You can have a triangle. It's a bit of a lame sound. We've got Bogdan with a B. We've got Emily May with a B. And I'm quite scared. Right, let's move on. So it's 7 o'clock. Let's do one more, okay? But I won't let it go to 7:01 or else we'll all turn into pumpkins. Oh, I finished. Ta-da! All right. So next week we start paper 2, which is the principles of computational thinking, abstraction, decomposition, and algorithmic thinking. Well done, guys. You've been absolutely great, and thank you for the poll that you did there, because it looks like the thing that we need to focus on is paper 2, which we kind of know anyway. So that's what we're going to be doing. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Have a lovely week. I haven't yet decided, but I think I will do this next week. Do me a favour. In the comments, could you write yes or no as to whether you would like me to do it next week? Because if you all say no, I will take a week off and I will give you a week off and I'll do it the week afterwards. So you can decide, because I really don't mind. But could you, in the comments now, tell me whether you would like me to run this next week or to give you a week off and do it the week after. So I will look at this. So I've got Sergen, yes. I've got Swiftblade, yes. Let's have a look at your answers. And I've gone to 7:01, which is bad of me. I've got Swift, yes. I've got Hash Brown, yes. So guys, it looks like you're going to work me through the half term, which is really good because I don't mind at all. So listen, we'll do it next week. That's absolutely fine. Fabulous. Thank you, Emily May. That's brilliant. All right, guys, listen, have a lovely week. Do some work, but be nice to yourself. Have a bit of time off as well. See you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Speak to you soon. Cheerio.